Hello, trading has closed on January 24th, 2024. We always do our disclaimer, go over our calls, and then make some predictions. It's my trading plan for Thursday. Thursday is the 25th of January, 2024. Please remember I can be completely wrong, and any trade you make should be made at your own risk. Look for the pattern today with the early low, which is this, and tomorrow has the early high. When I made my recording yesterday, I said futures were up 10 points. And unless that were reversed, it was bullish, and we should see higher prices. We did see higher prices and hit a new all-time high. It's pretty obvious action after we hit the high is not what you want to see if you're a bull. We gapped up, hit a higher high, closed under all the highs, closed under all these intervening lows. And that's a negative pattern. Can still be invalidated at tomorrow's open. I mean, we open over this high or take it out early, the whole pattern's killed. But for right now, that's a negative pattern. It's just a reminder of what we said. Tomorrow's pattern has the early high. Typically, it's a bearish day. Lately, it's been rallying, but it certainly isn't required. Well, during the day, MEJT gave a target of 48.97.50. This high was 48.97.47. That's within 3 cents. Yesterday we talked about a direct hit. That's a direct hit. Now usually, well, that's certainly, it's close enough. 3 cents is close enough to make the target optional. And it'll almost always print anyway. When I first came up with the system back in 2002, I had a bunch of these that came close and wouldn't hit the targets. Since then, if my record keeping is right, over 21 and a half years, only one of those never printed. So about once every 21 years, these things don't print. So this will print at some time, but it just doesn't have to be anytime soon. As far as now is concerned, it's enough to satisfy it. It doesn't have to print tomorrow. It doesn't mean it won't, but it doesn't have to. And as we said yesterday, when you have a direct hit, you don't know immediately if you're going to take out the target, but if you don't, it can lead to a pretty strong move in the other direction. And that's what we've had so far. Well, this is a reversal bar involving the upper Bollinger Band. Now, it needs confirmation. I mean, if we just keep going up tomorrow, take this high out, that doesn't mean much. But if it's confirmed, ideally by moving down smartly tomorrow, that's a reversal bar involving the upper Bollinger Band. And my target for the decline is a challenge, not necessarily a touch, but a challenge of the lower band. And the lower band is about 200 handles under where we closed. So if tomorrow's weak, we could drop 200 handles. Now again, this lower Bollinger moves, and it doesn't have to go there in a straight line. By the time it hits it or comes close to it, might be higher, might be lower, you don't know. But if there's confirmation, that's a negative pattern with a significantly lower target. This is the monthly chart, and these are DeMarc's stop loss areas. Now his stop loss areas in the monthly chart are based on the monthly closes, not intraday moves. So if you're not close to the end of the month, it doesn't help you. But his target for the combo sell is 49.34.50. Now he says interpret these loosely, but even if you interpret it loosely, we hit 49.03.68 today. That's pretty close to where he says we're probably not going to exceed at the end of the month. So there's resistance in this area based on his work. Again, the month's not over. We have a week, but it's still rarefied air. Well, we said if we went over this trend line without gapping, it probably wouldn't stick. We traded over the line and it didn't stick, so that's been accomplished. Eventually, I think we're going to break through the line, but it's not good. We couldn't break through it today. That's an invalid break of the line. Well, I've been trying to count this for a long time without a great deal of confidence. We were able to get 5 waves up for wave 1. We never had a count I was happy with for wave 2. Now we call this black A. It's not possible to call this A, B, C for B. All these fibs work. And if that's A and that's B, and that's 38.2, C is right at 100. So we now have a wave count, which should be wave B of 2. Now wave A wasn't so bad, and maybe wave C won't be too bad if that's the right count. But that's not one of Elliott's rules. C and A often have a fib relationship, but they don't really have to. Now for this count to work, I was counting this as a 5-wave structure. And the question becomes, how do you count this last move up, yesterday and today, as wave 5? Well, maybe it's an ending diagonal triangle. You have your ABC for A, ABC, ABC, B, C, D, E. If that's an ending diagonal triangle, and that's a valid count, might not be the only count. If that's a valid count, we retrace to the origin, which means we undo all the gains of yesterday and today. And based on what I've said, I mean, that puts us back, where is this now? You're down under 48.40. That would be confirmation of today's reversal. Based on the daily chart, based on the chart that we showed earlier, would imply we could drop maybe 200 handles before we're done. It's not bullish stuff. I should say that although this target normally prints, MEJT almost always leaves a failed target at major changes in trend, and that adds to the negativity of the pattern. So, tomorrow's pattern has the early high and a late low. Lately, the late low often has exceeded the early high, but it's not required, and in the past, that's not how the pattern normally played out. Many times it was a significant down day. We gapped up, hit a higher high, but closed under intraday highs and even under intervening intraday lows. And if, that's the if, it's maintained in tomorrow's early trade, it should lead to lower prices printing regardless of how we close. Don't forget, any reversal needs to be confirmed. We just keep going up. We just forget this. There's a higher MEJT target, but we came close enough to make it optional. It normally prints anyway, but that doesn't mean it prints anytime soon. The direct hit on the target, the reversal bar involving the upper Bollinger Band, and a valid wave count all argue for prices which are lower and possibly significantly lower before the rally resumes. As with any signal, this needs to be confirmed by tomorrow's action. Ideally, we should drop with conviction, and if we don't, we're going to keep in mind that trying to call tops can be a dangerous game. This has been a pretty strong rally, and if things don't play out the way I'd like them to play out, I'm not going to stick around. I don't mind missing winners as long as I don't take losers. This just looks pretty negative to me. All we need is confirmation tomorrow, and if we get it, we've got much lower targets, and if we don't, we take our toys and go home. So it's the pattern with the early high, and that's today's call.